This podcast looks at the Austin 7 motor car, its current ownerships and community, and the hope that we can encourage younger people to own Austin 7 cars in the future. My name's Liane Kate, I'm a journalist and I have a very keen interest in motor cars. Have done since I was probably about 3 or 4 years old, mainly because my dad was really into cars and we used to drag race cars, or he used to drag race cars when I was younger. I started in my own teens with my first classic car, which was a Volkswagen Beetle, and then subsequently went on to have another Beetle and then had a Carman Gear, and you kind of get the bug. And currently today I have and own this little car here. So this car here is a Volkswagen Beetle 1970, but I've also got new cars, not interested in those at all. My partner and I took another step from 1970s, went back in time and bought a car that was made in 1937. Right, now this is Bert, named by my daughter. Now Bert is a Austin 7 Ruby. He's slightly more dressed up today than normal because we've been asked by the local residents of the area where we live, Kenilworth, to take him round for VE Day, which is 75 years of the end of the war. So Bert today is going to be going on a procession around Kenilworth. He's going to be going to some street parties. My partner and I are going to be getting in the car in a moment and we're going to be talking about the journey we've had so far.
Ain't gonna start it one no more. Ain't gonna start it one no more. I ain't gonna start it one no more, no more. Down by the riverside, gonna lay down my soul and chill. Ain't gonna start it one no more.
I don't think my door's closed actually. Right, there we go. Right, nice sunny May day.
Nice smell of petrol.
I think it's quite nostalgic of when I was a little girl. I remember getting in my dad's classic cars and the smell of the leather, all the people waving at us, it started already. And the smell of the petrol. We're having bunting problems because Bert's wearing bunting today.
It doesn't go fast enough for it to fall off, so we're just safe.
So we've been asked today to drive around the local area, maybe more ladies, because Bert would have been 7 in 1945 in VE Day.
So he was built just before the war, in 1938, one of the last Austin 7s built. So he was one of the few cars really in England during the war, in fact. There weren't that many because a lot of them got taken over as military vehicles.
And your granddad was a butcher, so he got to keep his Austin 7.
And he had an Austin 7. It was a slightly older one than this. This was 1935. Two people. And yeah, so he was lucky he could keep his car in the war because he was an essential worker.
So for you then, I remember our conversation. I got a text message from you one lunchtime saying, you know how I've always wanted an Austin 7? And I said no. And you said, well, I have. And I said, maybe you should do some research. And that lunchtime, I think you did.
I did the research. I did a half an hour. We found a car. That
evening, we went to go and find Bert. And he doesn't look like any other Austin 7. If you go to a show, they're all shiny and polished. He's more rustic looking, I'd say. As we go along on our journey, we speak to so many people who have history about cars, and especially the Austin 7, but something that has a memory of their childhood. I've spoken with many people on my journey. I've spoken with people in Canada and Australia, people in Europe, and it always comes back. Everybody has a story, a memory that is so precious. These cars make people smile, and they're better than a photograph because the sound of the engine, the smell of the fuel and the oil and the coolant as it falls out. And it brings back so many special memories for so many people, which is why I want this project to be effective, because I really want our generation to be able to engage with this and to be able to see the brilliance of it, because the people in their 70s and 80s now, when they've gone, and these cars remain, it's our responsibility to share that history with our children and their children me that a Ford Fiesta that's off the factory line today is going to have the same nostalgia as this car.
No, that's correct. It's associated with a time of days gone by. Life was different then. Very
The
different.
pace of life was slower. Yeah? Waving at lots of different people.
It's been off the road.
It's older than Grandpa, just about. It's just older than you, John.
Let's look at that.
Insure this costs £53 a year for anybody to drive it and includes European breakdown cover.
And my son when he learns to drive at 17.
So I can have preliminary drivers on it as long as I'm in the car with them. It's £53 a year. But it's never going to get to Europe, is it? It'd take too long. So tax is an MOT, it's just that, it's just £50. Hooting. And we're stopping, we've got a stop on the way.
Stop on the way. We're going to stop and meet a gentleman at number 5 who
Who's
is
this gentleman?
90.
Number 5. Hello.
Hello.
You're our
Hi.
official stop.
I was a youngster sitting on a curb in Binley Village when the first one of these, or whatever it was, came through the Binley Village.
Really? Blimey.
That was the first car we ever saw. Binley.
Oh, Binley. Oh, so
Yeah,
coming.
that's where I was born.
Yeah, oh, wow. Okay. A long time ago.
Yeah,
Right,
very
you're
long time
97,
ago,
is that
but I
right?
recognised it as soon as you came down.
Isn't Well, so
Happy people.
we've been very, very happy people, and what's interesting is that the car is more than just a car, and we've today met lots of families, lots of people of different ages and generations. We've just spoken to a gentleman who's
97.
97 years old, saw the car as we drove in, knew exactly what year it was, even though the number plate doesn't match the car. And we also spoke with young people, people our age, and people are fascinated. And actually, just out of interest, on my theory on myth busting is, we've told people the car doesn't need an MOT, the car doesn't need tax. The insurance is £56 a year.
Yep.
So it's incredibly cheap to run. You need to be mechanically minded. However, you can learn this. It's not difficult. YouTube is a place where most people go for most things.
You've got to you got to want to listen to your very knowledgeable and elderly friends or relations because they know things that you don't know.
The
And they'll
country
tell-
that... Sorry, go on.
No, and they'll educate you because most people now don't understand cars. They're just consumers. They get in a box, put the key in if they have a key, start the car, drive off in a direction. If it doesn't work, they have to give it to somebody else. When these cars existed, mechanics existed, but a lot of people would, decoke their engine. They'd take it apart. They understood these things.
So even though we're in the middle of lockdown COVID-19, people and communities are still very passionate about history and passionate about the community, and it really does show that this car, or classic cars, or it could be a historical building, holds history and holds memories to so many people that this car in a museum wouldn't do, because we're taking it out into the community. And I imagine today, of all those people, in fact, Central TV were there, and so they were recording it, it was on the news as well. The more people that get to see classic cars being driven and know that they're quite achievable to drive and to maintain, the more we can hopefully get the next generation of taking on these cars as guardians.
Well, the car doesn't depreciate in value. It'll stay the same value forever, this car. It's not like a modern car when you buy it and every day you own it, you lose money on it. It's a very different thing.
But a big part of it is cost, and a big part of it is understanding, and a big part of it is being open-minded to driving something that's different. We all want to be a bit samey maybe today, and maybe we should think about being different. Hello. So we're heading off now, the next part of our day. And as I say, this car isn't just brought out for special occasions. It's driven to work and back, go off to the shops in it. It's your chosen car if you have a choice which one you drive.
Not a chosen car to go a long, long way in though, if I'm going to be honest.
We're not doing Land's End to John O'Groats.
Oh no, that would be an adventure, that's different.
So we're off now to the care homes of Kenilworth to show the Austin 7 to the generation who would have known this car when they were younger. So I'm going to be making a series of documentaries, and I'm going to be looking at the journey that I'm going to be taking throughout the process. I'm going to be interviewing people who are involved in trying to get young people into classic cars. I'm going to be interviewing people who own classic cars and desperately want young people to get involved. This series is going to be looking at the current community of the Austin 7 and those who are looking at owning an Austin 7 in the future, and my hopes to encourage more people and younger people to own the Austin 7 motor car. We are delighted to share that RH Classic Car Insurance have agreed to become the sponsor of my journey with the Austin 7 motor car. With no premium load to add a young driver in an Austin 7, RH Insurance are the perfect partner to encourage the next generation.